the Honorable Mia Amo Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados, Her Excellency Rebecca Greenspan, Secretary General of UNCTAD, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure today to take part in the general debate of the 15th sessions of the Ministerial Conference of the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD 15. Allow me first and foremost to appreciate the hard work of the government of Barbados and UNCTAD for co-hosting this year's UNCTAD 15, and I look forward to the successful outcomes of the event. This year's conference is taking place at a time where trade and development are needed like never before. This due to the fact that the whole world is facing a pandemic which has impacted lives and livelihood of millions of people. What the pandemic has shown us is that multilateralism is the greatest approach we have at our disposal to solve underlying trade and development challenges that we face, especially for the least developing countries, as we look to recover from this unprecedented fallout and emerge stronger and united. Having said that, the role of UNCTAD as the focal point of the United Nations of Trade and Development is more relevant than ever, as we are looking to solve not only issues that we have been identified, but also seek to tackle new issues which are emerging as obstacles impacted trade and development. The most important issues is, of course, the equitable access to vaccines, which is critical for LDCs to fight against the pandemic and to rebuild the economy. On this context, I would like to bring to your attention that Cambodia considers vaccine as a strategic tool toward herd immunity, allowing for the economy to revive back on track. The policy has been very positive for Cambodia so far as we appear to be the second most vaccinated countries in ASEAN after Singapore. At the current state, we have vaccinated more than 85% of total population of 16 million, in which we have reached 95% of the targeted 2 million adolescents aged 12 to under 18, and 80% targeted 2 million children aged 6 to 12. This led to government's decisions to reopen universities and schools. On other issues, LDCs remain vulnerable to shock and external threats. As far as trade performance is concerned, LDCs' exporting abilities remain concentrated to a few large markets and limited export basket. Low productive capacities and minimal industrializations and processing facilities mean LDCs could only export in low values added product or semi-processed goods. Such circumstances are disadvantageous to LDCs, especially in welfare and jobs creations. In addition, although LDCs are granted substantial preferential market access from developing and developed countries, we still face many non-tariff measures and technical barriers to trade that hamper and the exportabilities, especially for agricultural products. On these particular issues, I call for support from UNCTAD and other development partners to support the LDCs in overcoming these shortfalls. By improving productivity capacities, raising the industrializations level, providing capacity buildings and technical training for public and private institutions and all stakeholders, and by supporting the transformations of economy from commodities dependent to manufacturing based. I would like to also raise the issues of the rapid development of e-commerce and digital trade, which has widened the digital divide between LDCs and develop other economies. During this pandemic, we have seen greater increase of e-commerce activities in all parts of the world. In this regard, it is important to make sure that LDCs would not get left behind on the digital front. Thus, assistantships and supports are to be provided to build digital infrastructure, to transfer technology, to strengthen the legal and regulatory framework. UNCTAD support to LDCs in terms of e-trade readiness assessment provided invaluable diagnostics of the e-commerce sectors in each country so that the country can set out a roadmap for future development. Last but not least, Aid for Trade initiative is really needed by LDCs to build critical infrastructure, productive capacities, and institutional and capacities development. The increased role of the multilateral and bilateral development partners in channeling their financial support to LDCs to address important areas of development is essential. Although LDCs are the most vulnerable and needed a lot of assistance, as I outlined earlier in my statement, the share of aid for trade to LDCs is still marginal. I would like, therefore, to call upon all the development partners to provide more resources to LDCs through any available channels so that we can access to them and utilize those resources for the inclusive benefits of our countries and our people, and to realize the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. Thank you for your attention.